Hello my lovelies, Rob here again from Kickback Garage. Today I've got a new visitor and unfortunately, because my light isn't working, my studio light, this looks like a copper colour. It is in fact metal flake gold and it does have some issues and we really need to get to the nitty-gritty bits of that already in this video. So if you're interested in find out what's wrong with this, then grab yourself a cup of coffee and I'll see you after the intro. What?
Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
Markerte det med regn, alle sprang I lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt I frak, for valgte du å dra. Hvem I faen kunne se den komme, da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde bra til la oss sommer.
Right, this scooter has been sent to me by a Swedish gentleman who needs to sort this before our rally or season start. So really, without further ado, I'm just going to crack on with it. But I thought I'd go through a couple of issues that I could see already. First thing I need to order for this chap is SL UK clips, because removal of the footboard was a real pain in the arse. Now, this is a TS1 225. I think it's an Andy Francis engine that he bought a few years ago. And it's developed some issues. His exhaust has snapped, so he's fit a Clubman. He has a TMX 35, a sort of mistaken identity going on there. Because if you're going to use this as a touring machine, which the Clubman would indicate, there's absolutely no point having a massive carb like the TMX 35 on there. Now, the problem with the TMX 35 is you cannot change your atomizers on those, so they can be a bit of a pain to jet properly, and I've had nothing but issues with those in the past. So I think the first thing I'd recommend is a PHBH30 to go with the Clubman. Maybe if the cylinder looks good, maybe I can tail the cylinder by 0.5 millimeter, line up the ports with the piston, and turn it into a bit of a touring machine. But we'll see. I need to take this apart first. So the issues he has is, first off, both front and rear tyres are flat, and there's loads of marring on the tubeless rim here. He's really gone to town when he's changed the tyres on this. And the front tyre is split. Got a picture, I think, there, up here. So that is, you can see the... I think this has just been stood in the barn for the last 2 years or something, and the tyre has gone flat. Now, I've drained out the oil. Doesn't smell like petrol, so that's that could be promising. But another thing he needs to address here is this has just got a terrible side stand that's bent. And trying to bolt the scooter, try and get it to stand upright on my bench is a bit of a pain in the arse with a front flat tyre without a stand. But he does wish for a new stand, so I'm going to be writing up all the stuff that he needs for this build and hopefully get the engine out and strip it, although that's going to be quite precarious as well when there is no stand. I've got my little jack at the front there, hoping that's going to hold. And yeah, let's sort of crack on, see what's wrong with it. Yeah, another thing he said was usual suspects, the clutch is toast. Now, the clutch arm on the motor was adjusted really wrongly, so he's been having some issues with that. I think the kickstart shaft is rubbing on the clutch as well, so something going up there. And the engagement on the kickstart itself is out of whack. What I might do, if this is a proper Indian 200 engine block, I might actually convert that to the LI type ramp, which is easy enough. And yeah, I've taken off the electrics. I need to take off the carb. I'm going to have to precariously balance it to get it out of here. See if I can do it. Right, that's the engine out. These are AF race speed tubeless wheels. I've never seen those before. It's a new one for me. But I have to take off the wheel here and the hub, and we'll start stripping the engine. But first, I think I'm going to go get myself a cup of coffee. I actually got it out of the frame without dropping the frame off my motorbike stand. Problem being, I couldn't lift it up because it was stood a bit precarious. Right, let's get some coffee. Right, my lovelies, that is the engine up in my JB engine stand, which is very nice. It's going pretty quick. This is a bit precarious to get it out the frame, but I know quite a lot of history about this bike, and the most intriguing thing for me is to find out if the rear hub. And, oh, I have to take these gloves off. I haven't got any of those plastic gloves left. Latex. So I'm just going to have to get my fingers dirty. But anyway, as I was saying, about, I think it's 12, maybe 15 years ago, I was riding with this Swedish fella that owns this bike. And at the time it was white, beautifully restored bike. But they'd skipped some very important stuff, and on my way to Trondheim, which was a 750 kilometer each way jaunt, I lost my rear wheel because the lay shaft was really shitty, and the thing is, I ended up having to drive the van back home with about 10 scooters in the back. And I was following the chap who owns this scooter, and his wheel also decided to part with his scooter. Unfortunately, that didn't end too well. It was in a corner. He went into a ditch. He broke his, I think it was something like, I think he busted his spleen, he broke his collarbone, some ribs were broken, and it was a right mess. He ended up in hospital, I think it was like two weeks, and that's when I sold my lambretta and did something sensible instead. But after the mention of, because around that time there wasn't possible to get hold of decent lay shafts, only used lay shafts, which I'm not that keen on. I need sometimes the adjustable spanner is the thing to use. But anyway, what I want to do is check, because the first thing I asked the fellow when he asked me to overhaul his engine is if he'd replaced the lay shaft and rear hub. I think this rear hub may have been replaced. Oh, that was stiff, man. So that's just pretty good. I think I really want to check if he's replaced the lay shaft and the rear hub. The rear hub looks like it was replaced maybe at the time, but he can't remember. This scooter has been stood around for a little while. I have to sort of shock it off. give it a bit of a turn and shock it off. You should never ever try and prise a lambretta rear hub off. Oh, this table is terrible. Ooh, come on. There you go. I feel it, could feel it moving. So the moment of truth is this: how do the splines look? The splines don't look good at all, which is a real shame. I think this is actually the original with a massive burr on the brake surface. I don't understand it. That would be the first thing I would do if I was going to carry on using the scooter. It's obviously not falling off. But the problem is with these things, with the cone and the hub, is if you use, some people can use the wrong cone. But if these started to loosen a little bit, and you just sort of tighten them down again, then they will move on the lay shaft, and you destroy the lay shaft, and then they don't sit. So after, with all the vibrations and stuff, after a short while, then what happens is they unfortunately loosen and fall off. They can also, if you're really unlucky and have an original like 60s lay shaft, they can shear, and that ends with the same result. So first thing on the list is the lay shaft and a new hub. Well, my lovelies, that's the rear hub removed. This lay shaft doesn't look too bad, but there is some notches and stuff on there. But all this has got to come out anyway, because the seal is either the seal or the seal on the lay shaft or the seal on the bearing is leaking. Another thing I saw was the flywheel's been rubbing on the starter wires. They've not rubbed through, so that's good news. Here you can see, if I angle my camera down, like I said, I do not have that fancy light of mine anymore, so it's going to be a little bit dark. But if you look here, this is not good. This is actually grease coming out of the mag house, so that seal needs swapping, and the mag house needs to come out. So I have to do a full proper strip of this, because we definitely need to change the seals. I'll be checking the bearings as well today. And you can see here that the exhaust flange has probably been over tightened. It's just one of those things with the TS1 type stub. These buggers really hard to get airtight. So this engine probably had loads of issues with it, because it's definitely been leaking air. And what I think I'll do is, if this cylinder can be saved, I think I will throw the stub in my lathe over there and flatten it off. So what do I want to do now? Now I want to open the cases. Right, because this is an Indian engine, there were no studs here. There were just bolts, which is something I want to fix. But what I've noticed is that it's not fitting. Something is in conflict here, so we're going to have to pull this off and have a look what's happening underneath these cases here. Okay, you definitely see some rubbing on the kickstart shaft here, and you can definitely see that this kickstart shaft has loosened. It goes too far in there, and it's been dragging on the first gear. You can see that's a right mess. Oh my goodness. So that actually means, I think, that we need to fit a new kickstart shaft, because that is not good. The end plate ramp has had a real bad life of itself. I'm not sure what's been going on here, but what I'm going to do with this is just to solve all these issues of this kickstart shaft dragging around and stuff like that. I'm going to I'll either change the end plate to a Casa item, or I'll cut off this ramp and fit the LI type ramp on the case. Another thing I don't like about this is it's got an Indian chain in it. They can be prone to break. I just have to check how worn that is. And I really do not like the original type. You can see this is broken already on the leading edge there. These lower chain guides, not really a good idea in a tuned engine. I know a lot of people use them, but I don't. I've seen too many of these break, and I think you should have a proper chain tensioner. The rubber that's on the chain tensioner is completely gone. So, yep, onwards and inwards. And another thing to note as well, because this is a Indian engine, it has a big washer and a bolt going through onto the crankshaft. And that's also a terrible idea. Best thing to do there is change out to the MB or Casa or whoever makes them these days, but the solid one-piece nut and bolt job. So that needs sorted. Now I have to strip the rest. One thing I really need to investigate here, I've found out, is I've taken off the clutch and the front sprocket. And the problem is, if this is in fact a DL or a GP200 gearbox, then the gearing is completely out of whack. It was running 46 clutch with 15 teeth at the front there, which gives it a ratio of just under 6, the final drive ratio, and that is completely bananas hysterical. So I don't really understand what's been going on here. So I want to, before I take off the top end, I really want to have a look at what gearbox it is. Now the funny thing is that, or funny, I don't find it funny, is the fact that when I take off the end plate, where is the gearbox shim? No gearbox shim on this. Very odd. Can ease it off here. There you go. That is typical Mikuni. It's really sooty, the top of the head there. Let's just pull it up and have a little bit of an inspection, because these Assos pistons, they can develop. What on earth is this? It's like full of silicone. Done a terrible job here. That's not good. There is no, is there a base gasket? Right, let's have a look. No base gasket. You see there's like loads of silicone in the top. The bore of the piston doesn't look too bad, but there is some nickel coming off on the bottom edge of that. So I'm really going to have to clean this up. Try and take the top off, clean this up and see if I can use it. And what I'll do is take off the piston as well and see if I can use that. It's actually showing signs of a seize, which is a shame. That's not good. That's a seize. Looking at the barrel on this, I think it's had better days. Obviously, because I haven't got a proper light, you can't see it, but I'll throw up a picture of the barrel and show that the Nicosia lining is completely stripped on the piston skirt, on the area, on the barrel there. So I've just come off the phone to the owner, and we have decided that the best way, because he lives in Sweden and it's quite a jaunt to get this stuff down to me, he wants something really reliable. I think I'm going to do the safest thing and fit a RT225. We can keep the crankshaft, which is good. We can also keep the original clutch, which is also really good. But we need to do something about this gearing. Now, as you can see, the gearbox is there. I was so sure that this was a DL200 gearbox, but when they changed the lay shaft, which is something they've definitely done, the lay shaft splines actually look quite nice. So I think we can keep the lay shaft. Now, the O-ring on the lay shaft was shot. There was bits of O-ring lying around, so that's why it was leaking on the back hub. But the rear hub was buggered, so we'll buy a new hub, uni probably, and keep this lay shaft. I can also, like I said, I can also keep the clutch. Just need new plates, maybe some uprated MB springs or something on there, save a bit of money. And what I'm doing at the moment is, as you can see, I have got my bench here. Now, I'm pretty sure, at least I can't see from I've got some notes here. So what I found out was that the gearbox is actually an Italian LI 150 gearbox, which is one of the best ones you can use when it comes to tuning. Because the odd thing, I found it really odd, because if it was a DL200, it'd be 575 primary drive on that, and that'd be such a screamer. But with the LI 150 gearbox, the sprockets on this were 4615, which is a bit wrong. But looking at my stickies book here, really handy. If you do not have your stickies book, even the pros use this. I'm not, by saying pros, I don't mean me. But it's really, really handy because it's got these charts here. And for Norwegian roads, I reckon, here it says, if you have a final drive of 4.9, then you at 6,000 RPM, you can run at 61.5 mile an hour. And at 8,000 RPM, which is something the clubman won't do, probably 7.5 or something like that. But the thing is with Norway is that our the roads that we mostly frequent, not the motorways, but like the B roads, they have a speed limit between 80 and 90 kilometers an hour. So 60 miles an hour is 90 kilometers an hour. So between 6 and 7,000 revs, you can really munch the miles in the 4.9 ratio. And because that's not a screaming gearbox, it means that you actually can use the torque of the RT kit. But what it does say in stick is to get 4.9 with an LI 150 gearbox, I need to have 1646 sprockets. Now, I've got the clutch, which is 46, so what I need to buy is a 16-tooth. Just let me write that down on my notes. 16-tooth front sprocket to achieve that. And another nice thing about this is if I go here and find 4616, it tells me I need a pull-down chain tensioner and an 81 link chain. Cool. So I'll get these parts ordered, and the next video I think is going to be about how you make cables, and then the video after that hopefully will be the rebuild. Exciting stuff. I haven't got much time. We have to get this done before the season starts, which is coming rapidly. Right, I love you and leave you. See you on the next one. Ta-ra! Don't forget, do the old subscribe, thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. Ta-ra!
Alle Som
Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
markerte det med regn. Alle sprang i lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt ifra. Hvorfor valgte du å dra? Hvem i faen kunne se den komme? Da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde bra til oss som